Hey guys, it's Stephen here, back with another video, and there's a lot of people that requested in the DMs on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Here's a big video about Manchester City's new floppy-haired signing, Pablo Moreno, the 18-year-old Spanish wonderkid from Juventus. City have signed him for a fee of around £9 million, allegedly, and they've even announced it on Twitter and on mancity.com. So today I'm going to talk about that. Before I do that though, quickly, I want to go over this video that the guys at 888 Sport have sent me. Said, Stephen, have a look at this, see what you think. Is this the best the best Premier League side ever? You know my thoughts already, but I'll roll the clip anyway.
The Invincible team, we're not like these mugs, yeah? They bottled.
Why are we mugs?
I'm gonna show you why you're mugs. You dashed off you dashed off the League Cup. That Invincible team, we went for every trophy. We went for the FA Cup, got to the semi-final. Went for the League Cup, got to the semi-final. Won the league unbeaten, yeah?
To call you the best, though, you do have to counter that. Like that is a relevant point. The fact that you totally swerved the cup competition.
I don't know you.
Hear me out.
Man, we were like Usher.
Yeah. Hear me out. So we might have played a weaker team in the FA Cup. We still tried to lose to you lot in the League Cup, and we still beat you 5-5 on pens this season.
Yeah,
you
Pens,
mad?
get that
we
in.
even tried to lose.
Yeah,
to
Pens,
you.
get that in.
We tried to lose to you.
Yeah, Pens, get that in.
So you're not. Yeah, the World Club Cup, which you can only win if you won the Champions League. By the way, I don't know if you knew the rules for that competition, but you can only get in there if you're a winner. First and foremost, that's why you lot were in last season against us, and we beat you. Then we come and get the Premier League as well. Would you not rather win the Super Club, World Club Cup, Premier League and Champions League over a League Cup? Or an FA Cup?
There we go. There's their views from a Liverpool fan, of course, and an Arsenal fan as well, ranting earlier. Go watch the full video over 888 Sport and get involved in the comments below and let them know what you really think as Manchester City fans, why the best Manchester City side of 17-18 is the best Premier League side as well, in my humble opinion. But my honest views on that, at least we didn't throw away all the domestic cup competitions to try and actually win the league that Liverpool have done this year. Now, obviously, they're out of the Champions League, which they didn't try to be out, so fair enough, but they genuinely gave up the League Cup and the FA Cup and tried to get knocked out just to win the Premier League. They've got every right to do that, of course, and they haven't won the Champions League recently, so fair enough on that front. But Manchester City side scored the most goals, were the most entertaining, got the most points. I know Liverpool could still get the most points and whatever, but the football that City played, the all-consuming nature as they battled on every single front to win everything that they possibly could, well, in my opinion, that's just a little bit more impressive, and it shows that Manchester City's they never at any point lost focus. They did what they did despite everything, and 198 points to win 2 leagues back-to-back against a team of the quality of Liverpool. Liverpool's Premier League side have to do what City did last season to be, in my opinion, to be considered as the best, because basically Liverpool have had our 17-18 season with Miles out in front, all that kind of stuff, but they have to have a season as well like our next one, in my humble opinion. They could turn around and say last season did it close, but they followed Manchester City standards, so they have to also then exceed City standards in terms of entertainment, all that kind of stuff. It's a great side. I'm not down, it's a great side, but still I would much rather watch Manchester City's 17-18 and 18-19 sides than this Liverpool one personally. More goals, more fun, and more trophies at the end of the day. I know Liverpool may get there closer, but that's what I'm taking it as. Anyway, go watch the full video over there at Sport. Be link in the description. On to this lad, Pablo Moreno. What do we know about him? I'll go through all these stats, all these things at the bottom, all these categories. We're going to start initially with his background. Now, he's only just turned 18 at the start of March. The 3rd of March he turned 18, and he's been playing with Juventus' Primavera team, which is basically their under-23 side, for the past couple of years now, basically. He joined... I think he left Catalonia for Turin at 16 years old, and he joined Juventus in 2018 for a reported fee of around €700,000. And to put it lightly, Barcelona fans weren't very happy with this guy because he'd been breaking an awful lot of records at La Masia, their infamous youth academy. And it was quite a big move for a young lad to do that, to leave Spain and Catalonia as a 16-year-old and to move to a new country in unfamiliar surroundings and basically be challenged to settle into a new club. It's quite an impressive feat to do, for any young lad. And then to get called up for Spain's under-19 side as a 16-year-old playing Italy, that's generally quite impressive. And also, he even appeared on the bench for Allegri, who picked him on the bench against Genoa in March 2019, though not yet for Sarri, admittedly. Sarri never put him on the bench at all. So he's got a quite impressive background, loads of goal-scoring records and all that kind of stuff, and he comes with a high reputation. In terms of his stats, he did some pretty remarkable things over his 4 years at La Masia, breaking a number of goal-scoring records. This does tend to be the case, though, with young players. They tend to score an awful lot of goals when they're younger because they can tend to have one kind of ability that marks miles above everyone else in terms of giving them advantage. So he looks like For him, it might have been his pace or something like that, but I don't know. All I know is that when he was at the under-12s, basically, he scored 72 goals in 27 matches. For the under-13s, he scored 41 goals, then a 66 the next year for the under-14s, and in his final season at Barcelona, he scored 34 goals for the under-15s, which is very impressive. He even got a call up to the Spanish under-16 side as a 14-year-old. Remarkable numbers. Usually, though, as I've said, that doesn't tend to carry on into under-18s or under-23s football. Obviously, he's immensely talented, but that doesn't really represent a guy's future potential, really. Or he can do, of course. It's an indicator, but it's no guarantee because he just might have been a bit faster than everyone else. And at that age, that makes a massive, massive difference. I remember some kids like when I was playing who scored like 10 goals a game, and they would probably shite overall as they got older, but they're just so much faster than everyone else that it made a massive difference. If you look at his stats for the 2019-20 season, playing for Juventus' under-23 side, basically, this is where you see the difference. He scored 5 goals in 21 games, only 1 in the league in 14 appearances. I'm not saying he's been ineffective or played poorly, but it's just a leveller in terms of against those under-12s, 13, 14, 15 stats. He scored 2 goals in 4 games in the Copa Primavera, and in the UEFA League, he's had 4 goals in 3 games, which is pretty impressive, admittedly. So fair play to him on that front. He's got some good stats there, basically, but he's not obviously the ridiculous goal scorer at youth level, at senior youth level, as he was at academy youth level, basically. In terms of his position, he's been cited as a centre forward, though that does tend to vary, if I'm being honest. From what I've seen of the clips of him online, he tends to drift out wide. Now, his primary role is as a central striker, admittedly, and he's been kind of compared to Aguero on that front, though honestly I don't really see that. I'll get onto that during the style of play. But Juventus have often experimented in playing kind of on the left of a forward three sometimes. But recently for Juventus' youth teams, according to a little bit of research I've been doing, they've been playing as a 4-3-1-2 formation, and he's often been playing as one of the two under Lamberto Zauli. And around like 3/4 of the matches, he's kind of been in that left-sided number 2, but often dropping deeper and often dropping over to the left and being involved with play a lot deeper. So I wouldn't say naturally he's a centre forward. He might be an academy level, but now he seems to be drifting a lot deeper and a lot more towards the wing. So don't necessarily see him as a long-term striker, I would say. In terms of his style of play, this is why I don't really see him as a long-term striker. People compare him to Aguero, but I can't really see that because I don't think he has that same physicality that Aguero had, even though Aguero was small, and this guy seems pretty small too. He's about 5'7" or something like that. He's also a lot more slight than Aguero. Aguero was always small but strong, like an ox, and he had those kind of big thunderous thighs and kind of broad shoulders and a stocky little kind of like middle, like a lightweight boxer physique. And I don't think Moreno's got that personally. Moreno seems to be all about that explosive pace and that ability to bundle past players in those kind of 1v1 situations, which does admittedly make him a massive threat cutting in from the left, which he tends to do quite a lot. I've seen loads of clips where he seems to drift quite deep, get the ball centrally and drive through the middle, either getting a shot away or playing in one of his colleagues. And he does seem to have a very intelligent kind of style of play, admittedly, on that front. When he does play centrally, he prefers to kind of operate goal side of the marker a little bit. He's off the ball runs and his touches inside the box do seem to be pretty intelligent, and statistically he performs pretty well in the UEFA Youth League on that front. He seems like a really intelligent little player, but I'm not convinced he's an Aguero replacement. I don't think he has a long-term physicality to play as a striker. Maybe he'll get a lot stronger, but he does seem to be a little bit smaller. I'm sure when he was under 13s or whatever, he had the physicality to play then, but as everyone gets older and bigger and stronger, I don't think he's quite matched that physical growth. It could happen, of course, but I don't think he's that kind of player. I think he's more of a wide guy who'll cut in. And his game, from what I've seen as well, doesn't really indicate someone who wants to play running in behind the strikers. He seems to want the ball deeper and link up play and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I just don't think we've got an Aguero replacement, put it that way. In terms of style of play, he actually reminds me quite a lot of Brahim. He reminds me an awful lot of Brahim. Now, essentially, he's a little bit taller than Brahim, but not quite stocky as Brahim, and maybe a tiny bit faster, but probably not quite as flamboyant as Brahim as well. He also looks a little bit like a right-footed Bernabé, if I'm being honest. And those very talented players, I rate them both an awful lot. But they had no chance of getting in Manchester City's first team. I don't think Bernabé does, unfortunately, unless he improves a lot. So he's going to have to be an awful lot better to be better than these guys who didn't get a chance. Bernabé might get a chance still, but I'm still sceptical on that front. We'll see anyway. In terms of his City future, well, all kind of reports suggest he's a very mature player. He'll obviously work very hard. He took a big lead off the examples of like Ronaldo and Diabala and all that kind of stuff, and he seemed to look up to them quite a lot. He seems to be known for his maturity, and I guess moving to a foreign country and adapting to life over there suggests that He's a hard-working lad, and he'll have his head down, and he'll work. And I guess he's tempted to think that because he's held up a Manchester City shirt and City have announced it, that therefore he's going to be involved with the first team. I wouldn't think it's quite as simple as that personally. I think largely, sometimes these can be contractual things that a player is announced via the website. Why would you say they do that? Well, sometimes it's just because it can help you profile as a player. Seriously, being announced as a signing by Manchester City is better than not being announced at all and shoved out the door on loan somewhere. It just helps you profile, and football is all about profile often. It really is. Sometimes players can be hyped players and it can help their career massively. It could also be that City do plan to look at him. I would not be surprised at the same time if part of this deal was the fact that maybe he'll have 2 months with Guardiola training and we'll see how he gets on, and then maybe they'll reassess at that point. It could be genuinely that instance, and it could be that maybe he will get a chance. Who knows? Sane is now gone, basically, and go watch the video yesterday if you haven't already. Sane's gone, we've got like a spot out wide, I guess, so maybe we do need a new forward. Maybe he will be seen as another forward. It could be difficult though, because we've got Jaden Braff with the team. We've got a bunch of very good young attackers. We've got Palmer. We've got Delap as a striker. We've got Adozie as a good winger. And many, many more. Then the fact that you've got Gabriel Jesus, Mahrez, Sterling, Foden who can play out wide, Bernardo can play out wide. It's going to be very difficult for this lad to get a go. Honestly, I think largely there's a bit of an accounting exercise going on here. I think Manchester City and Juventus are being a little bit kind of sneaky, legally sneaky, but sneaky nonetheless. We've all seen recently the headlines around the Arthur Pjanic kind of Barcelona swap kind of transfer fee thing, and it's raised an awful lot of eyebrows because there is some insane money being essentially handed out to Barcelona over this and all that kind of stuff. Now, what this tends to break down to is if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. The sense behind it is that I think it's an accounting thing, basically. Now, I'm not an accountant at all, so don't expect me to explain it fully, but it's something to do with how they value a player's transfer, and they essentially spread the cost of the transfer and the value over a certain amount of years, and then it's amortization, and they can use certain fees at certain kind of financial years to readdress their balance. And I think what Barcelona and Juventus have done for that Arthur and Pjanic kind of transfer is shook each other's hands, worked out a deal that would help their accounts and their financial fair play accounts, got around some loopholes and helped each other out financially from that. It's very complicated, and I suspect City will be doing the same here with Moreno and Correa, who's gone the opposite way. Correa has done all right at Alkmaar's second team in the second tier Dutch football, but I don't think he's got a future Manchester City either. So I think basically it's a case where it's a mutually beneficial agreement, and we've both got a player that we probably want each. But also, I wouldn't really read into the fee, basically. I think it's an accounting thing. Now, eventually, one of these signings will come good, of course. We signed a lot of these players, and this summer, City have been really aggressive on the youth transfer thing. We signed a couple of fullbacks. We signed the Aguilera guy, the Peruvian guy who'll come next year after he turns 18. We signed Jan Couto. We've got the 2 Scottish lads. I think it was Liam Smith and Josh Adam, something like that. Then we signed the guy, the midfielder from Anderlecht, the 16-year-old defensive midfielder, Lavia or something like that. And we signed loads of more, and probably will sign loads of more. Eventually, one of these guys is going to end up world class. If not, we signed him for a pittance, I guess, in the great scheme of things, and we'll sell them on for a profit, no doubt. If not, they'll do very well for one of City's City Football Group clubs, I guess. So even though it's tempted to kind of get bogged down this and go, oh, maybe he's going to actually become a Manchester City player, I would advise caution on that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope all the information that you needed is in this video. Let us know what you think of your future. Personally, I think he'll be on loan to Girona very, very soon. I think Girona alone in second tier Spanish football makes an awful lot of sense. What I'm seeing is a guy here that I reckon will probably just have a good career, but not at Manchester City. Do let us know, though, what you think down in the comments. Go and check out the video, the full video for 888 Sport discussing the best Premier League side ever. Make sure to check out the signing video from yesterday, subscribe and all that kind of stuff, and I'll see you tomorrow.